Hi, hello and welcome to episode 23 of the Colin's Punk Rock World podcast. My name's Colin. I do Colin's Punk Rock World and CPRW Records and the podcast. Today we are joined by Jordan, who is the host of the PodPunk Podcast. Hello.
How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Really, really warm. Apologies for picking this horrific day to do this.
It's been one of the weekends, isn't it? It's been so ridiculous. I'm not enjoying this at all.
It's not necessary.
No.
I am looking forward to when Freedom Day happens tomorrow, time of recording. It's just staying indoors still. So what shall we talk about today? We're going to have a talk about the PodPunk Podcast. We're going to play fantasy festivals. Jordan's worked hard on his. And we're going to talk about some upcoming festivals that are hopefully going to happen. They're far enough away, so fingers crossed they should. So do you want to... Oh, actually, when we get a guest on the show, we first thing we ask is, like, what you've been listening to. What have you been listening to?
So what I've been listening to at the moment, mostly, a lot of it depends on where I'm at in my head at the time. So at the moment, the stuff I'm listening to is things like a band called Days and Days. They're a fat wreck band. They're phenomenal. I love them. Stripped back acoustic band, but I'm listening to a lot of that sort of punk at the moment. So there's them. Danish band called, I think it's pronounced Stirred Snack. I'm not sure.
I think I've been told it's Stoy.
Stoy.
Stoy Snack. That's what I've been told.
We'll call it Stoy Snack then. I don't know. I've never been told, so I don't know. I've just seen it on Twitter and stuff. And I listen to a lot of their stuff and that. At the moment, it's just that kind of stuff, really. Beans on Toast. That's another one that I've been listening to a load. It sort of just depends on where I'm at and headwise at the time, sort of thing. Like when I'm listening to more of the heavier stuff, listening to a band called Fangs Out, who are a band that I absolutely adore and cannot say enough good things about. I love their music. If you like things like the Bronx and the Gallows, that sort of punk, then they are a band for you. Check them out, absolutely. They've been guests on the podcast as well, and they were so much fun. Like genuinely one of my favourite guests. And from South Wales, we've got the band Raiders as well, who are amazing. They're just, again, similar thing. If you like thrice, like Bronx and stuff like that, they're another band for you to listen to. They're phenomenal. Get on that. But those are the things that new things that I've been listening to, along with the, like everyone's got their go-to classic sort of songs that they will always listen to. There's some of the newer stuff that I've luckily got to listen to during this weird lockdown.
Have you found it harder or easier, do you think, to have the, I guess, what's the word, or the desire to check out new bands while we've been in lockdown?
It's been easier because, especially since creating social media for the podcast, algorithms and all that sort of stuff has made a thing where Instagram essentially chucks bands at me. I don't know if it does the same thing for you.
A bit. I get lots of messages saying, "Please, can you review us?" So I'm like, "Oh, leave me alone."
Mine's mostly like I get like ads and things. Bands when they pay Facebook a couple of quid to promote their thing a bit more. But also it's good to, like, if you find a band like that you like that have kind of got a name, go through who they follow or the suggested follows and that. Found some quality stuff through that as well.
That's like the equivalent of, remember like CDs? Remember like CDs, like they're really old. Like when you get like the little booklet and the bands have like thank you lists.
Oh, those were great.
Yeah, I loved those.
Those were great. We used to do those in our old band and scene and stuff. Like we used to thank all the local bands and stuff. Just
that was such a good way of finding other bands though who you'd probably also like.
Yeah, absolutely, it was. Yeah, it was. I think because of things like that and Punkorama and compilations and stuff, that's the way. Like that I discovered a lot of my bands anyway.
Yeah, that's how I did it. Read the book. That's why that's a lot of reason why I still like to buy like physical. One, it's just support bands, but I like reading all like the credits and the thank yous and stuff like that. I'm a massive nerd, but I love that kind of stuff. So do you host the PodPunk podcast, all one word,
Yes.
if you're searching for it? I wasted a lot of time this morning searching for spaces. Don't do that.
Apologies for that.
Yeah. So you want to tell us about the origins of the podcast and why you started doing it?
Yeah, so way back when, so the story actually sort of starts in early 2000s when I was in a band, and I used to. We were quite lucky to be around the embryonic times of bands like Sonic Boom 6, Random Hand, Standout Riot were just coming onto the scene at the time. Bands like the household name records, bands like Captain Everything, Howard's Alias, Vanilla Pod, bands like that were all out and about and stuff. And yeah, we were in this band, and I, like most people my age, thought that this will be it, man, and we'll make it, and that record label is coming, and all that sort of stuff. And basically, over time, my immaturity, my ego sort of made it a miserable thing to do. I was getting mad at people getting opportunities that for some stupid, arrogant reason I thought I deserved, which I didn't. And looking back on it, it's an idiotic way of thinking, but unfortunately that was the way my brain was kind of wired back then. And I sort of just fell out of love with music. The moment that I really just hated everything was there was a band called I Am the Avalanche, and they with Vinny from the movie Life, and they had two local bands from our scene play that gig at Jilly's Rock World, and I went there, and I was green as anything. Like, I was so envious and so angry about. Not angry, I was just bitter about the fact that they had this opportunity in front of the guys from Drive Through Records who were doing like a tour around the UK, and one of the bands from the local scene turned up so drunk they couldn't play. They could barely play. They were messing up left, right, and centre. They were making it obvious that they were messing up, and it was just a really unprofessional thing to do in front of like a record label. And I was just like if we had, in my head I was like, we had the opportunity. Sky's the limit, stupid thought process, but it unfortunately tainted me completely. So when members of the band got kids and got married and all that sort of stuff, I just went off being involved in bands. I just couldn't be bothered. Fast forward then from that early 2000s to around about 2019, and I started seeing my now fiance, and she would put on playlists in the car and stuff that she'd got on Spotify, and I'd be like, oh, I know this song and I know this band, and I know I in some cases I know these guys, I'm friends with them and stuff. And she was like, oh, I didn't know you had all that. You knew all this, you never speak about it. And I was like, oh, told her pretty much what's going on and that. She's like, oh, well, me and my mate are going to MPF. Let's go to the Manchester Punk Festival and see what's what. And I was like, yeah, I'll go, I guess. And I kind of went there a bit like, I don't know, with the wrong mindset. I'm just going and this will be all right and whatnot. And then the very first band I saw was Call Me Malcolm. And the second that they started playing, the room just took off. We were in Gorilla in Manchester. The rooms went off. And everyone was just having a sick time, and the band were on point, and everything was just there. And I was just like, I remember this. I remember like why I fell in love with this. Because this was the same feeling I used to have when I used to see Capdown play. When I used to see, used to go to the different buildings, rooms in the academy to watch bands play. Like, this is the feeling I had. And yeah, then Faintest Idea came on, and they were equally amazing.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was just like, I love this, and I had a buzzing weekend and stuff. And then afterwards, all I did was talk about it, how good it was. This band was great. This band was great. You should check out these guys. Saying to my mates all the time, check the bands out. They're brilliant. And a mate of mine, Scott Bradley, who's in from the Hornet Hoof record label, who's a local around here, he said, why don't you start a band? And I was like, I don't think I'm ready for that. I don't think I want to do that. I'm 38. I don't really think now's the time for that. But he said, "You'd like talking a lot about it. Why don't you do a podcast?" And I was like, "Do you need for a podcast? A couple of microphones and a person? I can do that. See what happens." So my first guest of my very first one was Scott. I did the chat with him and listened back to it, and it wasn't entirely cringy. It has moments, especially my initial intro was me saying "oi oi" because punk to it. So I wish I didn't do that. But yeah, it wasn't entirely awful, and then I just decided I'd try and get people to come on and see what happens. And then I think I did about 4, maybe 5 interviews person to person, and then after the virus proper kicked in, I had to do everything over Zoom, which in some respects has been possibly one of the best things that could have happened to it, because I managed to get in contact with people that I never thought I'd even speak to, let alone, get to interview and spend some time with. So yeah, so that's kind of the origins of the podcast and why it exists.
Now, you've had some crazy guests, the big ones, obviously Bill Stevenson.
Yeah,
I mean, if there's a Mount Rushmore of punk rock, he's at least 3 of the faces, I think. So how did you manage this?
So a lot of it's cheek. So what I did was I just wrote out lists of everyone I'd like to speak to, and while I was doing the list, I was picking local bands, or I was picking bands like Call Me Malcolm, those kind of bands who are accessible. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you go to a Call Me Malcolm gig, there's a good chance that the band are going to be in the crowd watching the gig, or they're going to be around. Do you know what I mean? So they're kind of accessible people. So I thought they would be easy to get on and talk to at podcasts stuff. But then I even went as far as to put bands like Green Day on there, because why not? Why not be cheeky? Why not try? The worst thing that's going to happen is some rep from their PR company is going to say no.
Yeah.
Which to be fair has happened loads. I actually have I love this email. I have a rejection direct from Henry Rollins.
Nice.
Because I just emailed him and just went, "Do you want to do it?" And I'm like, and he was just like, he's such a Henry Rollins response of, "I'm done with podcasting and social media, but thanks for the inquiry." It's just it's such a Henry Rollins thing of like, "No, I hate what's popular now. I'm not doing it." So with Bill, I found the email address for one of his recording studio. And I emailed it just on the off chance, see what happens. And he replied to me within 5-10 minutes. And next thing I know, as a day goes by, I'm having a Zoom chat with, an absolute legend who has no problem, just telling me some of the cool stories about, bands driving around in a van and turning up in squats and houses. And that was what the gig scene was, while some Milo Goes to College is out and it's, blowing up, they're still just playing in people's basements and stuff, random house parties. And it was mesmerizing, seeing him talk to me about this stuff. Like I said, a lot of it's cheap.
I think you got to shoot your shot, haven't you? That's what they say. It's you miss Absolutely. All the shots you don't take, or whatever that saying is.
Exactly.
Yeah. Have you got anyone else goals for or future? I guess you'd love to get on then.
I would see. The thing is, I love to. I love one of my favorite episodes that I did actually was one of the kind of left field ones. I interviewed a guy called John Nix, and John is the director of Beyond Barricades, the anti-flag documentary.
Okay.
And I was just like, I've interviewed bands and musicians and stuff, and I've kind of got. I found myself at the time sort of going, I'm asking the same things all the time, which is a difficult, thing to get out of as well, especially when you start feeling comfortable. So I thought I'll take myself out of this and I'll just have a conversation with someone who is involved in the punk rock world, but kind of out there. And it was fascinating. We barely spoke about anything I planned. It just went off into different worlds. We were talking about different movie makers. We were talking about politics. We were talking about just everything. It's like if you want to just chat about, hear a chat with two people from completely different spectrums of the world talking about things, it's really interesting to listen to. Like I actually don't mind. That's one of the few episodes I don't mind listening back to. And he's dead interesting because he makes these films and has this art that's just very interesting to look at. It's very Lynch-like, and I love that. So I would love to speak to more people that do documentaries and things like that, and tie it. And as long as they've done something that's punk-ish.
Yeah, that sounds like a really like interesting, because you don't get many, or not that I've heard anyway, many podcasts like on that side of the punk scene, that the people who do document it.
Yeah,
so that would be, I think.
I mean, who better to speak to than the people that got access to, you know what I mean? Like John got to speak to Tom Morello about Anti-Flag. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, tell me about that. Absolutely, tell me about that. You know what I mean? Like, it's very interesting. The amount of documentaries that have started coming out. There's a Scar one that I saw. I think
Pick It Up.
Leonore. Yes,
yeah.
Leonore from Five Iron Frenzy. She was part of it. She did. I think she produced it or something. She said to me when we were on the podcast. Like that was amazing.
I struggle. I love Scar. It's like my I always say it's my first love, and I apologize to my girlfriend every time I say it. But I really struggled to get into that. I think because it was like the content was good, but Tim Armstrong narrating it, I found it really hard because he's got like such a distinctive voice.
Yeah,
and it just felt off with him.
Did
you ever watch the Tim Armstrong when he tried to do like a punk rock musical? And it's on YouTube now.
No.
Tim Time Bomb and Friends. It had like Lars Fredriksson and Davey Havok in it, and I think some of the guys from Fishbone. And it was quite a fun thing, but they went. It was just a bit camp, and it was all good fun. So then hearing him then do this documentary, that's all I could think of.
I need to find this. This sounds amazing.
I'll send you the link when we're done. For like, I mean, it's got some really good songs to be fair, because Tim Armstrong is a very good songwriter. But
absolutely,
yeah, I struggled to get into that documentary. It's a shame because I was so excited about it.
Yeah, well, like I said, there's that documentary, and there's a Fat Wreck, which is a glorious documentary. I'm trying to get open-ended films. I can't remember what the guy's called now. I'm sorry about that. But me and him have been trying for a while to get our schedules and links so we can actually record something with him. Because again, he got into the belly of the beast of the, in my opinion anyway, and I'm sure people have their own, but in my opinion, the punk rock epicenter is Fat Wreck.
Yep.
I know people prefer Epitaph and have their own opinions, and that's all cool. Like, it's just saying for me, I'm not right. I don't know.
I like them both.
Yeah. I don't dislike Epitaph either, but
like
we're all allowed to like anything we want.
Liking two things. What a crazy world. Now, have you ever seen the documentary 1994? That's a really good documentary that I'm told is now back on YouTube. It went missing, I guess, because of copyright stuff. But that's now back on there, I'm told. And that's like a really good documentary that sort of documents like when Green Day and Rancid, The Offspring all sort of blew up around early 90s sort of time.
Yeah.
That's really cool, like fun trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some really good we're going off on a tangent away from your podcast, and I apologize. But
no, it's fine.
There's another one, the Bomb the Music Industry podcast, not podcast even, documentary, really good, like Jeff Rosenstock's old band. And what's another? I forget what it's called. It's about like just DIY culture there in America. Again, it was really, really good. When we finish, I'll find you links for them, or I might remember to put them in the description when I post this, but I'll probably forget. So just while you're listening to this, Google it now, and then it'll be fine. So
you were saying about other people I'd love to have on, like the documentary guys, the directors and stuff. I'd love to have them, but I've actually been lucky enough to have one. One of my dream guests was actually Chris Ballou from the President of the United States of America. I loved that band when I was young. Right, because when Peaches came out, Peaches was the song that I loved. Like, I adored that song for some. And like early my writings, the early writing stuff I used to do was very much ripping off them. Like I would rip off like a quirky riff, and then I'd talk about random stuff over the top of it, which is kind of very much a president's kind of thought. And speaking to him was again ridiculous because he was so nice. He's a children's entertainer now.
Wow.
So he does this project called Casper Baby Pants, which is how the way I found out about contacting him, it was there's a YouTube thing going around. I think it's Mikey from Fairmount. Does Mikey and his YouTube?
Oh yeah.
And they did Slither by Nirvana, and then Chris sang it, and I went on the Casper Baby Pants website and emailed the customer service side of it to say like, would you come on? I'm a huge fan and stuff. And again, he came on. That was ridiculous as well for me. So like, in terms of like people I'd really want on, anyone who's got a good story, really. Like just as like we can talk about like what's your motivation and all that sort of stuff until the cows come home. That's kind of right. But like some of the people I've spoken to have really had good stories, and I like to speak to people who have that more than anything else. So it doesn't matter if you're in a multi-platinum selling album, band, or whether you're potentially a legend to many people, or even if you're in a band starting out, looking for a bit of, a couple hundred followers to go, oh, that's a new band that I like. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
As long as you got like a cool story, which luckily every weirdo that seems to want to be in a band has, it sort of pans out.
Yeah, I think a really good thing about like the punk scene in general, like I said about Bill Stevenson being on the Mount Rushmore, but at the end of the day, all like punk rockers, whether you like Fat Mike or Bill Stevenson, or if you're like someone who's just starting out, everyone still feels like they're the same level. They're all still people. Yeah. There's no ego about it, which is a really cool thing about like punk rock. It's why I'd probably stay in it, because it's good people. It's great music, but ultimately it's good people.
Yeah,
that's why I love it.
That's the thing that really sort of resonates with this whole thing. Is that's one of the things I know when we were at MPF in 2019, we stood outside waiting to get in a venue, and I remember a guy in a band coming out of a venue freaking out because his amp wasn't working. And there was a band who had played somewhere else on that day. Were like, oh, we'll go get ours. And ran to a van that was parked 5 minutes away, brought an amp for him, and then they got to play their gig. That's a community thing that doesn't. When I used to work in Stockport College's Students' Union bar. I used to be sound tech for the live gig night they used to do, and I would see people not lending cabs. And I remember one time a guy came in with a drum kit, and then after he'd finished, took it down and then left. And I was like, "You were supposed to supply the shell for the rest of the gig." He's like, "I'm not doing that. I'm not letting some strangers play my drums." I was like, "Dude, that's basic gig etiquette. Everyone brings something and you all share it, and you're respectful of each other's stuff. But you don't get that in the punk stuff. Like every single time I've been in an environment of that and something's needed to happen, people have worked together to make it happen. And it's that sense of community that I think keeps this scene alive and these people involved in it, which is when like some random weirdo from Stockport sends an email to them saying, "Do you want to speak on Zoom?" People like Bill, like Frank Turner, like reply and go, "Yeah, I'll talk to you," because they're people.
This is it, yeah. That's exactly it. That's why I think I say this all the time. But that's why we like. Do you know the New Cross Inn? It's like a venue in South London, and like where Call Me Malcolm and Just Say Nay essentially live. So that's what I always say. I like we went for the music to start with. We go back for the people. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to go back there. August 14th, King Punch 3 DBS down. Can't wait.
Ooh.
Yeah,
that's a tasty little gig.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Talking of New Cross, actually, because I need to shout out a gig that's coming up there on. Hang on, I'll get the window open. October the 14th. It's More of This Fest 2021. It's a gig that B Sharp and All Right Mate promotions they're putting on for a gentleman by the name of Steve Todd, who sadly passed away not so long ago. Like Steve ran 13 Stitches Records and like promotions, and they really paved the way for sort of DIY punk gigs in South London, and they've put together a all-dayer. The 16th of October. It's going to be like a £3 entry plus any extra you might want to pay, and all the proceeds are going to go to the Papyrus charity. I think I've said that right. I probably haven't, but Papyrus. And yeah, on that lineup, they've got Darko, No Matter, Demon Smiles, which was Steve's old band. They're doing a reunion. Drop This, which is Jordan from Skiv's old band. Drop This. RXR, which is Dan Peters, who used to write for Colin's Punk Rock World Band. Dynamite, The Real Quaid, which I think is another reunion. Dead Anyways, and Gareth James playing an acoustic set. And say that's all in memory of Steve for all the great work he did in the punk scene in the early 2010s. So if you're free, please go along to that. I'm hoping to get some time off work so I can go. So fingers crossed. Yeah, so
come on.
That's my nice little plug for them. But no, you should go. And it's for a great cause as well. So
Awesome.
that's another thing what's so great about DIY punk. They come together and doing stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
They don't need to. They're not going to make any money at the venue. And let's be honest, venues need money at the moment.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, if you can, please go. Right, podcast stuff. Actually, do you want to do it with, you're doing Fantasy Fest as well? Do you want to do Fantasy Fest now and then we'll talk some more podcast stuff?
Let's do that. Let me just quickly put a cut. I just need to put my phone on charge because that's where my internet's coming from, and I'm on 10% battery, so I don't want that to cut off as well.
Okay.
Bear with me 2 seconds, all right?
All right, I'll fill. Yeah, so what else has got going on? Fish Stock is a thing that's happening in September. That's at the Exchange in Bristol, which has got a really good lineup that I'm quickly getting up on my phone because I am not an organised man. That's the WhatsApp group. Fish Stock. Yeah, it's at the Exchange in Bristol in September. And playing Fish Stock is the JB Conspiracy, Aerial Salad, Bobby Funk, Toodles and the Hectic Pity, Redeeman, Babaluk, Atacop, Live Do Nothing, or Live Do Nothing. I've not worked out how you say that name yet. Gimmick, Luna, which is Hassan's from Triple Sunday's new side like hip hop project, and Petty Treason, which I think is Chris Fishlock's new band that they formed just before lockdown and hadn't had a chance to play. So yeah, Fish Stock in September on the 18th of September at the Exchange in Bristol. I think it's only a tenner as well, which is ridiculous for those bands. I'm going to be there. Emma's going to be there. I think Lara's going to be there. So it's going to be a good old day. So come along to that. Right, I'll finish filling. You're back. Fantasy Fest. I'm a professional.
I get that.
Yeah, so I'll quickly remind the listener of the rules of a fantasy festival, and then we'll hear Jordan's. So the festival needs a name and a venue. Should be about 350 sort of capacity. DIY festival, DIY venue. The festival must consist of 8 bands plus an after party band, and it must follow these rules. So the headliner must be ridiculously too big for the venue. Maximum 1 from North America, so that can be the USA or Canada.
Okay.
At least 1 band who features someone who doesn't identify as a man. At least 1 band that features people of color. A band that's formed in the last sort of 2 or 3 years. I mean, saying 2 years is a bit harsh because obviously the last 18 months. A reunion band, because we all love a reunion. Yeah. A band from mainland Europe, because fuck Brexit, and that's ruined so many of these amazing bands being able to come over here now, which is really sad because there are brilliant bands in Europe.
Absolutely.
And an acoustic act, and the after party should be a cover set, and it should be one that's not been done before, to your knowledge. Yeah, the reason we do all these rules as well is because just to create a more diverse scene. It's like, because the punk scene is very white male dominated. So, and it would be nice to see a more varied lineup, not just in like appearance or gender or anything like that as well, or sexuality, but also just in sounds as well. I think would be a good way of having like a ska band with like a hardcore band, and then like a techie skate punk band, and then a pop punk band, and it's been nice to see. That's why we all love festivals as well. You get the variety.
Absolutely.
So yeah. So if you want to go through your order, starting with like your opener, and then work your way down, and then when you come to the headliner, I'll try and guess who it is.
Okay.
From what you've told me already, and hopefully it will be kind of linked. Otherwise, I'm screwed. And then the after party band. So you tell me who will be playing it, and I'll guess what songs they're playing or what band they're covering. Okay. And hopefully it works, and I won't go and ask for lots of cute clues a lot. All right, cool. Do you want to start with your name and the venue then?
Yeah, I'm going to be very arrogant and just call it the PodPunk Show.
Nice. With no spaces.
No, all one word. All right. To make it difficult to find. Star and Garter is a 150 cap venue, so this would go off, I think, if we if we had this. So I would open it up with.
Where is the Star and Garter? Manchester.
It's in Manchester, yeah. It's near Piccadilly train station. It's one of Manchester's I think one of Manchester's best venues. It's great.
I'm yet to go. They never use it for MPF, I don't think, so I've never actually been there.
No, I think there's they overcharge you for the venue.
Okay, that's a shame.
That's kind of it.
I think this is a fantasy then.
And also for where it is for where MPF is. It's like the other side of Manchester.
Okay.
So it would be a pain to get around.
Okay. I'll go for a one-off thing at some other point, I'm sure. I'm actually going to Manchester soon or December for three anarchistic undertones putting on Popes of Chili Town and Call Me Malcolm and Just Say Nay.
I'll see you at that.
Are you there? Cool. Yeah,
yes.
We're going up. We're coming up for that because we miss Manchester.
Awesome.
All right. Sorry. Yeah.
No, you're cool. So opening act is actually Just Say Nay. The ensemble of that band is just ridiculous. The musicality of them, brilliant. What a band! What more can you say, really? If you want something amazingly punchy, energetic, good music, good time to kick off your gig. I can't think of a band. I genuinely can't think of a band that I'd rather have on top.
Yeah, have you seen them before?
I've seen them once.
Yeah, so good live.
And the quality. And Charlotte from Just Say Nay used to be an old drinking buddy back in the old days. When she lived up here, she's actually friends with a lot of my fiance and a lot of my mates and stuff as well. So
nice. Quickly before we go on, just give nice congratulations to Jack and Charlotte because they've just had a baby, a little girl whose name Callie.
Really?
So yeah, that. Came on my Facebook this morning, so congratulations to Jack and Charlotte and the rest of Just Say Nay, because there's so many of them. I'm sure they're going to be a member at some point.
Yeah, definitely. Congratulations, guys.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, sorry. I'll stop interrupting you now.
You're all good, man. So then I would also bring on Sonic Boom 6 because I want to get a local band in and I want to get some legends in. And like I said, if there's part of the soundtrack to my college and my youth, I think Sonic Boom 6 EPs and albums are definitely part of that. If you were in the Manchester punk scene at any point from the very, very late 90s all the way up to now, you know what I mean? They're part of our culture. They're our people, you know. Tremendous band, great message, you know.
Sorry, I'm interrupting again because I'm.
Go ahead. Sure.
Trailblazers as well. I was thinking about them the other day. A woman of color fronting a band.
Yeah.
You just don't see it now. Still
thinking about it, not just woman of color of fronting a band, but a woman of color who was a woman of color during a period where people of that particular race were highly treated negatively because of things like 9/11 and stuff, the horrendous stereotyping of people back then, and for her to be, you know, just front and center of that, you know, and not even being, you know, remotely related to that, but being put into that because of the fact that her skin color is skin color is, you know what I mean? But having that and having the message of go, no anti-racism, anti-sexism, anti-homophobia, inclusion, that kind of thing, calling out a lot of things as well. Like if you listen to a lot of the lyrics for a lot of their songs, you know what I mean? Like there's some important messages within those funky beats,
Yeah.
And that's something that I will always admire that band for, is that they always put their message and themselves into their music. So I would definitely want to have those guys involved in my festival for sure. My acoustic act is going to be Beans on Toast. And the reason it's Beans on Toast over some of the people I mentioned before is because I think Beans on Toast is possibly one of my favorite storytellers. I listen to it. It's going to be cliche and it's going to be cheesy what I'm about to say. I'm sorry about this, but it feels like he's talking about me. You know what I mean? Like, but the way that he tells his stories in his songs, you can relate to that. You can almost put yourself in the position. It's such good writing.
Yeah.
And melodically, it's beautiful. It's got a bit of a sense of humor about it at times. Do you know what I mean? It's just feel good music. So Beans on Toast, they're my acoustic act.
Yeah, I don't know why they're not like Frank Turner size Beans on Toast by now. Because lyrically, he's like, yeah, Jay is brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, good catchy acoustic pop songs, basically, or folk songs. And like you say, they mean so much to people, or they make you laugh. So, like, MDM is amazing. And
exactly, yeah.
Bedford gets a shout out on that.
And none of them are about us. Do you know what I mean? It's about us, but it's such good songwriting, it's such good storytelling that it emotes such good feelings. And I love a bit of Beans on Toast. It's such a good little, like all of his EPs and all his albums, just tremendous.
I love how he releases an album on his birthday every year as well. Like,
is that okay? Is that a thing?
He does. Like, I think like December 5th or something. Every year he releases an album on his birthday. So that just sort of shows the strength of his songwriting as well, to be able to be that consistent.
Yeah, man.
Amazing.
Yeah, sure. We Are the Union.
Nice.
They're the band that are coming in. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's quite a bit of ska on this, but that's kind of my thing. We Are the Union have always been amazing to me. I saw them supporting Less Than Jake once. I think it was in Cardiff.
Yeah, 2010, 11?
Yeah, something like that.
Because I went to that in Oxford.
Right.
With Zebrahead as well.
Yes.
And I don't know if it was on every tour, but it was, I've forgotten the name of the band now, but it was, the features some of the members of Capdown opening. For the life of me, I cannot remember the name of this band.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Boob and Tim are in it.
My brain's gone.
My brain's gone as well.
But
yeah, it was that tour. And
if you know, write it in the comments.
Yes, please do. But yeah, We Are the Union. They just blew me away, and I became an Insta fan. And then the evolution of that band into what they sing and talk about now, the kind of members they've got in, Cartoon Network's in there.
Yeah.
One of the members came out trans as well. I think that happened recently. But they've always had this kind of thing about being accepting and open about everyone. You know what I mean? They've had that anti-racism message for sure going on for a long time. I appreciate bands that do that sort of thing. I know there are a lot of people that want politics and things like that out of their entertainment and the media, and I kind of sometimes I get what you mean, but music's certainly not one of them. Like, it's about music to me is about what I'm feeling at that time. At that time, I might be feeling crushed from a heartbreak. At that time, I might be feeling I hate the world. I might love the world. You know what I mean? I might be pro politics. I might be anti. You know what I mean? Like it's about everything. So, but again, like I said, we're rambling a little bit there, but We Are the Union. They're coming in. My EU band is a band called Core Billiard. They're a Belgian band. And they're someone I'm bringing into this lineup because they deserve, in my opinion, they deserve as much of a focus on them as possible. Core Billiard are phenomenal. Genuinely one of the best skate punk bands that I've had the pleasure of coming across. They slid into my DMs and were part of my first showcase podcast. So I do. I've done 2 so far. I'm going to do a 3rd one soon when my equipment comes back and I've got all my stuff again. But those episodes are basically, if you're in a band and you want me to play you stuff, send me an MP3, and then on one of the showcases, I'll get to your music and we'll play it and stuff. But they sent me stuff, and I was blown away by the quality. It was just so good.
Nice.
Such a good band. So
check them out. I don't know them.
They're my what do you call it? A fuck Brexit one.
Yeah. Oh, fucking.
They're that one.
Fucking Brexit.
And my reunion band, it's kind of a cheat, but I just want them to. I know they do it every now and then, and they still appear at gigs, and they're going to be at Slam Dunk this year if that happens. And they've been at things, but I want Captain to come back, and I want them to stop it. I want them to stop being grown-ups and having lives and children and jobs and all that sort of stuff. Can you guys just pack it back in, release another album, please? Because if it wasn't for them, I would never have picked up a guitar and been part of a band. I would never have discovered, Sonic Boom 6. I would never have discovered Random Hand. I would never have discovered any of these new bands that are out. Like, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be there. And I selfishly just want another album. I want another album, and I want another tour. And then when they say, thank you for that, I'll say, thank you for that album and tour. And then I'll say, now do me another until the end of time. I love Cat Down, and I want them back. They're like that really, that ex that you never get over, you know?
Yeah, I'm hoping, because obviously they're like sort of Slam Dunk, and they're Milton Keynes based. I live in Bedford, which is next door. So I'm hoping they do a warm-up show, a hometown warm-up show before Slam, so I don't have to spend 80 odd quid or whatever it is to go to Slam Dunk.
No, I get that.
So, I mean, because I was like looking at the Slam Dunk lineup, and we originally weren't going to go like for the last 2020 version because it clashed with Bristol Blues Cruise, and we wanted to go to that. And then like they put like Face to Face and the Vandals on it, and I love Face to Face. I think they're one of the most underrated bands from that era. And the Vandals I'd never seen before.
Right.
But I was like, oh, we've already gone to Blues Cruise, and then obviously things got broken. Then Slam Dunk is now in September, and the Vandals are still playing it. Face to Face sadly aren't.
Yeah.
But I'm like, do I want to pay £80 to stand in a field and watch the Vandals that much?
I was like, the second Cat Down run, I was like, yes, take my money.
Yeah, fair.
That was it for me.
Still such, again, the South as well is only about 45 minutes from us. I mean, to be honest, to bring the mood down, I'm still quite skeptical it's likely to happen because all those American bands coming out. I really love to see them try and put something on, even if those bands can't come over, and just get all of the UK bands who have been sitting on their hands all year and could really do with some exposure. And I think that would be magic. But at the same time,
Download did it right. I think just get the cream of the crop of British bands that fit that type of festival.
Yeah.
And people will go to it. I think people would go to that more now because they just miss being at a festival. I don't think even if you put a bunch of bands that maybe a lot of the public don't know, for whatever reason, I think people would still go because it's Slam Dunk Festival and it's a festival that's happening.
Yeah, exactly. I think as well, like if you put on these DIY UK bands at this festival, then people go, oh. We'll put Call Me Malcolm as an example. If you like Less Than Jake, you're going to love Call Me Malcolm.
Yeah.
So if you see, see Call Me Malcolm, they're playing at this venue near my house, more people will go to that and then put money into the DIY venues again, and that will help. And in theory, I'm probably living the big dream here, but make the DIY scene bigger and better, and
it's kind of what we want, isn't it?
It would be magic. I mean, I am probably clutching at straws and hoping for the best and being a bit of a romanticist, but wouldn't that be nice?
It would indeed.
So, how many bands we got left until your
headliner? We've got the headliner and the cover band.
All right. So your headliner, you've already got a North American band, so it's from the UK. I'm going to guess from the sound, it's ska.
I think so, yes.
Okay. So who's kind of a ska band, but not a ska band?
Actually, I'm being a dick. It's not.
It's not a ska band. Okay.
No.
This could be hard then.
I think I've made it a bit difficult, to be fair.
Okay, no problem. I might need some more clues then. Like, what part of the country are they from? We'll start with that.
Singers from London.
London.
Yeah. I mentioned his old band in a description of one of the bands that I listened to at the beginning of the show.
Right. Oh. We got. Who did you mention? You mentioned Stoy Snack.
Yep. It was one of the hardcore bands I listed.
Oh, the Fangs Out.
It was Fangs Out and Raiders, and I said they sounded like this, and this.
Okay.
One of the bands is the one I mentioned. He was the singer.
Got to be Gallows then.
It is.
You want Gallows with Frank Carter?
It's Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes.
Frank Carter. Oh yeah, I saw them once. I saw them.
Now, one of the things I would say to him is I really want you to focus as much as possible on the first two albums because they fit the mold a little bit more. The third album is a bit more experimental, and I love it, but I want to keep it as raw as I possibly can because I'm a punk kid, nice.
Yeah.
Frank,
in a 150 capacity venue. Jesus.
Pretty much go off. Yes, and that's kind of how I want to end it, with as much bloodshed as possible.
Yeah, carnage, absolute madness.
As much carnage, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, we saw them at Brixton Academy a few years ago. My old boss, I'm still good friends with, she wanted to go along. So I hadn't seen her for a while. We'll pop along. And like, I mean, I'm not a massive sort of Gallows fan. I'm not a massive Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes fan, but I was blown away by the performance of it all.
Yeah.
Like, have you been to Brixton Academy?
I unfortunately have never been to a gig venue in London.
Oh, you should change that.
I should.
Till the Fest in October. I recommend that one.
Okay.
It was just happening at New Cross and Amersham Arms, and in a minute I'll get up a lineup. I know Lightyear are playing, and I know Call Me Malcolm are playing, and Just Say Nay actually. So you'll love it.
Cool.
But yeah, like there's like a balcony because it's quite a big venue, and I don't know how we got up there so quick. But once when he was singing on the stage, then he sort of wandered off and disappeared. And it's all of a sudden he was on this upstairs balcony to still just sort of shouting the song, and I was like, and just had the crowd like how he does it. He's a showman, as Frank Carter.
Absolutely.
So they're really good live. I mean, I can't say I've gone out of my way to listen to him again since, but if I was at a festival and they were on, I wouldn't avoid them.
No, definitely not.
I might pop along just because I think that's my thing with hardcore, like that kind of heavier sort of. I wouldn't often put it on, but I do enjoy watching it live.
Yeah, definitely. I went to Arctangent Festival in 2019 as well, and there are a load of bands in there that I remember just loving in the tents and stuff. I didn't know anyone apart from Coheed and Cambria that were playing. Oh, and Meshuggah as well, I knew of them. Saw a band called Car Bomb there, who were just as brutal and as heavy as you can imagine from a band name called Car Bomb. And they were just amazing. But like you said, I have to very much be in a mood to listen to their CD. But I get what you mean. Like live, it works different, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, like Revenge of the. I'm assuming you've seen Revenge of the Psychotronic Man at some point.
I have, yes.
Yeah, I remember before we had to re-record the start of this podcast that you.
Oh yeah, I mentioned that.
Yeah. When you were coming up, they're one of my favorite live bands I've ever seen. Because the way they connect with a crowd as well is just incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're so good and much missed, and I can't wait to see Knife Club like Andy and Big Hands' new band.
Yes.
So that'll be. I think they're playing the London Till the Fest festival as well. So,
there you go.
Yeah, it's Ollie Ward who runs Till the Fest promotions. It's I think it's 20 years of him putting on shows. So he's just putting on a massissive festival in South London in October.
Cool.
It should be good. I can't wait. They're having a football tournament as well, which I'm equally as excited about. I can't wait for a bit of either side. Right, so we've got your cover set to go. So who will be playing it?
It'll be Random Hand.
Random Hand playing a cover set.
It will be Random Hand playing the cover set.
Who could Random Hand be playing as? Skindred?
Nope.
Oh, that would be good.
It would be.
Is it genre related though? To Random Hand.
So you know what? Early days Random Hand, yes.
Right. Ooh, so it's a bit heavier, I guess. Then
they are a more heavier band than Skindred. They're kind of in the same ballpark as Skindred. You'd find them on the same festivals. Then.
Okay. This is hard. Because in my head, I was thinking maybe a band like Link 80, but probably not.
That's probably better than my idea.
Oh. Actually, so before we continue, I was looking at you had Adam from Omnigon and Link 80 on your podcast. I remember listening to that.
Yes, indeed.
He seems like the loveliest man.
He is exactly the loveliest man.
Yeah, I did the fest schedule the other day. I was looking through it and I saw Omnigon are doing a Link 80 cover set.
Yes.
And if I can't go to fest now because of the world still being broken, that's going to be really, really sad because I want to see that.
Yeah, shout out to Adam because he's a beautiful human being. He did my, the logo for my podcast.
Oh, yeah.
He drew that.
Wow.
And did it off his own back. Didn't say he was going to do it. I never hinted that I wanted a logo or anything like that. He just dropped me an email once and just went, I was doodling and messing around and I came up with this. I hope you like it. And it was the logo and I was like, that's sick. And it's just just generally, ever since we did the podcast episode together, like he messages me every now and then on Instagram, like asking how I'm doing and stuff.
Nice.
Crazy guy. Asks me if I'm doing workouts and stuff. I'm not.
Who was? No, I remember because I started doing CPRW records last January, and I had all the compilations. They're based around like different themes. And the first theme was based around community, and Omnigon have East Coast, West Coast, I think it's called, Left Coast, something like that, on their album. And I sort of messaged him asking, like, could you send me a WAV file of the song? And he's like, he's like messaged Mike from Bad Time, and like asked if he could have it. And then like he sent me a message a few days later saying, "Have you got it yet?" And was like really keen. And it's like you didn't need to do that. It's like what a nice man.
Yeah,
I hope they can find a way. I'd love to see like Paul Smith does B Sharp Promotions, and he's just started his own like booking agency where like I think they're called All Corners Artists or something or other. The initials are ACAB, which I thought was amazing, and like he's now representing Bad Time Records, most of their bands, and like for hopefully those bands can come to the UK soonish. Because there's so many bands that do so well over here now. Like it's nice seeing ska punk be like. I mean, we'll talk about this in a little while. I'm still trying to guess who Random Hand is supposed to be being, but it's nice seeing ska punk becoming a thing again.
Absolutely.
Right. I ain't got a clue.
Should I just say it?
Please.
I want them to do a Limp Bizkit cover set.
Amazing. That would be fantastic.
Anything. So all the scratchy DJ stuff, I would love Robin to do on a trombone. That kind of thing. I just feel like they would do something spectacular with Limp Bizkit cover set. So.
Oh, they would. That would be fantastic. I mean, I'd just take seeing Random Hand be Random Hand because obviously no one plays enough anymore. And they're all grown ups now and don't get out as much. But Random Hand are like one of the great UK ska punk bands.
Absolutely, and some of the nicest people that you could ever meet. So
yeah, I would come along to that festival.
Cool.
And I will buy ticket number 1. I'm sure you're going to have to charge a hell of a lot of money to afford some of these bands. And
£3 in, £3 on the door. Five.
You are losing money. On that.
I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it real. It's £3 on the door.
Yeah, this is something I was talking about actually with Paul about like now, like when shows get back, will you feel like £3 shows? Should they still be a thing? Because people, that's nothing for a band. They're not making money, and like venues need money, bands need money, like, and people will happily pay a lot more than £3. Like if they want to support.
No, true.
Like, I think any show less than a £5 now is ridiculous, and bands need money, so support them, basically.
Absolutely.
If I'm thinking this show is going to be upwards of 50 quid just to cover the Star and Garter.
Yeah, and then we have to.
And then Frank Carter, I imagine, is going to be a few grand. Cap Down's going to be a few grand.
Easily.
What? We are the union here.
I think I'm going to have to rob a bank.
Yeah, maybe. I was looking at getting to put in like a little CPRW weekender and just threw a load of bands in a hat, then sort of speaking a ball about it. I was like, what do you think this would cost me? And it was like, okay, yeah, I'm not doing this. This is going to cost me too much money and more stress than I could be bothered with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was interesting though, because like Scar, I think since the Jeff Rosenstock album, Scar Dream got released, and everyone's really jumping on the Scar bandwagon again. And people sort of saying like, oh, Scar's not dead anymore. But to me, Scar never died. Like, especially in the UK, it's always been there.
We always have bands that in this country that love that, and I think it's because of the multiculturalism of the genre, just because it's a multicultural genre anyway. There's a huge sort of there's a bigger, like, even though we are I'm not going to get too political, but I'm going to have to do it a little bit for this. Even though we've been under conservative rule for 15, 16 years now, and it seems like no matter what happens, Liberals can't get the step up or whatever on it. There is still, I think the majority of people in this country are more tolerant than I think what's being presented. And I think that's something to remember, is that like the biggest gap of people that represent this country, the ones that don't vote, that don't take part in these things. Because even though I get the argument of, if you don't take part, then you're part of the problem. I sort of get that argument, but similarly, they're the same people then that look at the alternative and go, that's not a good enough alternative for me either. I need something further than that. And I think that's something that is embedded a lot in the UK in general, in their music, and especially in the punk scene. There's always someone loves that offbeat, that ska feel, that reggae feel, that sort of that Caribbean feel. People love that stuff. You see a band, Millie Manders and the Shut Up, for example. Yeah. They're a phenomenal band that brought that back. You got the Popes of Chili Town that do it. In my opinion, they're one of the best bands in the UK scene for it. They're phenomenal. Just in like you said before, there's loads of bands coming out, and one of the things that America did was just American bands just sort of stopped. It seems like a lot of them stopped taking themselves as seriously, and needed something fun and upbeat during a period of misery. You know what I mean? Like the last 5 years in that country has been pretty bleak, I imagine, for people living there. I speak to my family and stuff, and they talk about it. Luckily, they're not 100% in the system because they're not citizens; they're green card holders, so they can't take part. So none of it really actually affects them. But I've spoken to their friends and stuff, and things have really affected people. So for bands to bring out high energy, upbeat, uplifting sounding music with a positive message, I think that's starting to become in vogue again. And that's kind of where Scartoon Network comes into it, and things like punk rock karaoke and Mike and stuff. You get these things where people just want to release these fun stuff. We're getting it over here in the UK with the Punk Rock Factory. Punk covers of Disney songs. Love that.
What can go wrong? Yeah.
What can go wrong? And that's kind of why the ska stuff's coming back. I think it's, like I said, there's people that just want this upbeat, uplifting thing, and that's why you've got this massive spread. And when the American border opens and people can start touring around and everything like that, I can't wait for those, because there's a huge ska community down in South America.
Yeah. That
when that gets to go up into the States and gets to mingle with those bands around there that have a bit more of a notoriety and name globally, I can see ska coming back. And hopefully in a better way than it did originally, where it went a little bit down the route of, my girlfriend dumped me in my high school car, and that kind of like silly sort of stuff. Hopefully that doesn't come back, and it doesn't get sort of ruined by record labels and stuff, and it, stays good.
I think bands are a lot more savvy now, though, aren't they, with that kind of sort of attitude. Like the message is at least as important as money now, I feel like. Because I guess they have been a very, like you say, like living in America, I imagine has been pretty bleak. I mean, living here is pretty bleak. But so people want to spread that message and try and get a positive change, which what better way to do that than upbeat ska music where you can dance and sing about something you care about. So
exactly. So, and more of it.
Yes, please.
More of it.
Yes, please.
Colin, sorry, a little breaker on here. I need to go shortly.
Okay.
I've realised it's a lot later than I thought it was, and I've got something I have to be going to in 20 minutes.
Okay. So
do you want to should we do some festival stuff and then wrap it up?
I'll wrap this up and you're making it.
Okay, sorry, mate.
Yeah. I'm not going to edit this, by the way. This is going to be so I think the big festival news in the UK, because you mentioned MPF earlier, they've announced their first bunch of bands for this year. I got it up in our window. So I think it's largely bands that were supposed to play in 2020 before, obviously, stuff. So, but I know a Wilhelm Screen were added to it, who weren't on there before, and potentially Belvedere, I can't remember. No, they were, and I was supposed to see them at New Cross.
Belvedere are announced,
Yeah, so, like, any bands on there that are really sort of sticking out to you on, like, the lineup you're excited to see?
I'm very, 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 very excited to see Risky and the Ridicule again. I had the luxury of seeing them at Star and Garter with Popes of Chilitown not long before everything shut down. They are disgustingly good. That's great. They're ones I'm really looking forward to. Let's see. There's a lot on that lineup that I like. Let me just get it up again.
One I'm really looking forward to is Just Panic, who I think are like a Manchester band, or at least sort of northern. They played the first MPF in like 2015, I think it was, and they're kind of like a folky punk, kind of against old school against me kind of sound. And think their last show was the first MPF, that was my first time really hearing them. And then obviously I've done nothing since. So I'm really looking forward to seeing them.
Yeah.
And my friends in Triple Sunday are playing, and they're like a sort of melodic.
They are quality. They are amazing.
Yeah, great people as well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing them play at MPF. Like get them. Hopefully they're on a decent sized stage, and a lot of people will be able to go see just how good they are, because they should be one of the biggest bands in the UK punk scene, I think.
Absolutely, they're sick. They got such good songs.
Yeah, Hassan his lyrics are fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what else we got on there? Loads of good stuff.
We've got JB Conspiracy. They're another one for me to say people should look out for.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Captain Hot Knife's coming back into the world. That's a name I hadn't heard for a long time. And seeing his name pop up on there, that should be pretty good. I think Aerial Salad are playing as well.
Yeah, Aerial Salad are playing there. They're about to be the biggest band in the UK, I'm quite sure.
They should be.
I think they're going to be on Sunday Brunch in the next year. That's my barometer of how big a band is now. If they're on Sunday Brunch.
Amazing. I think from the start to finish this, I get to see Nightclub, which was something I was kind of looking forward to last time, because I love Danny from Faintest Idea, and he's in it, and I've heard their demos. Is it demos or proper albums they've brought?
Oh, they've released a proper album now, yeah.
They released a proper album now. I've got to sort out of it. I need to get back into my game, get my head together. Seeing that live, and like you were saying before, seeing a bit of Revenge of the Psychotronic Man mixed with Faintest Idea, mixed with Nosebleed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a lovely little gumbo, that, isn't it?
That's going to be fun. That's going to be a busy crowd for them, I think.
Absolutely, man.
What else we got on there?
Definitely be a get there early thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Dave's I'm really looking forward to seeing.
Yes.
I mean, one of those bands that are really hard to find if you put them in a search bar, but yeah, because I kind of helped put on a festival at New Cross in last January called Do It Together Fest. As that was with Paul from B Sharp and Sarah Shout Louder. And we all I had a spreadsheet with like a load of bands we wanted, and Dave's were on there. But Sarah's suggestion, I'd never heard them before, but I checked them out. I was like, yes, these are fantastic. Then it turned out they'd already had a gig that weekend in Manchester, the Garlic Bread Club thing, I think it was.
Oh yeah.
So I obviously we didn't get to book them, and I've still not seen them. So I'm looking forward to seeing them. They're like a gruff punk kind of sound. Yeah, but there's loads of really good bands. And if you want tickets for this, I'd get on it because I think already 50% are gone.
Yes.
So there's still like 9 months.
And they will go.
Yeah, that's Easter weekend 2022. Yeah, they're all going to go. I'd also probably, if you're traveling, book your hotel as soon as you can as well to get somewhere good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the other was like... Oh, sorry.
That's right. Yeah, the other, like I said, the other band I'm really looking forward to seeing. I've just seen on this lineup that I'd forgotten were playing. Is going to be Bobby Funk. Again, NPF do a great job with their playlists. Everyone should check them out and listen to the bands that are going to be on them, even if they're ones you've never heard of. Everyone should just listen to music as much as possible if you like the stuff. And Bobby Funk was on there. I just, again, a band that I thought this is going to be amazing. And I didn't get to see them at 2019 because they clashed with someone else, but certainly going to make a beeline for them at 2022 for sure.
Oh, there's going to be so many clashes. I think this is only half the bands as well that have already got out. There's about, I think, 60 odd bands they've announced already, and there's got, I think, a few more announcements.
I think they haven't done. I don't think they've announced the acoustic stage or the comedy and poetry stages either.
No, so, well, yeah, I forget that's there.
I always
so much.
Beeline for it. Yeah, exactly. It's so much to check out. It's just a great festival. It's really friendly atmosphere.
Yeah,
everyone should get on that for sure, and quick because, like we were saying before, tickets will go.
Yeah.
This will sell out.
Yep, and just quick before, because I don't want to keep you much longer, but Booze Cruise, which is a festival that started in Hamburg, has also now got like a sister festival that takes place in Bristol at the Exchange. They announced their first wave of bands, which I'm going to assume these bands will play both Bristol and Hamburg, but that's the 18th to 19th of June in Bristol at the Exchange. And they've announced, I'm going to just read them all, there's not that many, but it's amazing.
Go for it.
Tiger's Jaw, Dogleg, Dollar Signs, who have released the album of the year, in my opinion. The Sunder Bombs, Retirement Party, Such Gold, Dream Nails, Make War, Fresh, Nervous Drones, Cherim, The Penske File, Mikey Erg, Ramona, Goalkeeper, Rest Easy, Andrew Pally, or Paley, I don't know how you say that, Bob Nana, Dude Trips, Hell's Ditch, Moonraker, La Moxie, Arguer, and my friends in Goodbye Blue Monday. That's what they've announced so far, and there's more to come, and that's just an insane lineup, loads of really good sort of, I guess, sort of
amazing,
like punk, like sing-along punk bands. That's what kind of, they're kind of like, Booze Cruise is like the European equivalent of Fest, basically. And yeah, so get tickets. I think early bird for that sold out as well, so crack on, get them tickets, because I imagine that's going to sell pretty quickly as well. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay, we'll quickly wrap this up then, as Jordan has places to be, and I'm really hot, and I need to get off this t-shirt, and I shouldn't do it on camera.
I have barbecue food to eat, so.
Go. Yeah, so thank you very much for hanging out this afternoon.
Dude, thank you so much for having me on. It really is weird doing it this way around.
Yeah, I was like, what do you ask a podcast person? Because I don't do that many interviews. It's just usually people I know, like, and we just hang out and talk shit. But yeah. Where can we listen to the PodPunk podcast?
So PodPunk Podcast, all one word, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, and on SoundCloud. You can also follow me on the Instagram at PodPunk Podcast. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's pod_punk, and if it's Facebook, it's PodPunk Podcast. Or that one I think is actually separate letters, separate words. Sorry. So you can find me on there. I've got a couple of episodes that luckily got saved when I sent my Mac off to get repaired. So as soon as that comes back next week, I'll be able to edit them and upload them. I've got quite a lot of cool guests coming up as well. I've got a couple of showcase planned as well. So like I said before, if you're in a band, you want to get featured on that, you can do. Just drop me an email, podpunkpodcast@gmail.com, and send your MP3s through to me, and yeah, we'll get them on as well. And yeah, that's pretty much everything.
Awesome.
The other thing I do want to plug, sorry, is that Horn and Hoof Records, Manchester record label, check them out. They've got some amazing bands on there. Tio Rico is on there. The Crash Mats are on there. They've released Vanilla Pod's final EP on there as well. The tremendous Sally Pepper, who I have to give a massive shout out to. She's unreal and deserves a lot of support. She's going to go back out on tour soon. Check those people out as well.
Also, yeah, I'm aware of Horn Hoof, and they're lovely people, always been really supportive of what we're doing. So yeah, go check them out.
Yeah,
And
Scott's an absolute gem.
Yeah, I'll put like links for all your stuff in the comments, the bio-y about bit, whatever you call it as well. So
Brilliant.
Yeah, go check out PodPunk Podcast. It's much better than this one.
It's not. How dare you?
How
dare you undersell yourself, Colin?
Oh, we just make it up as we go. We don't know what we're doing.
I do. But
right.
no, appreciate you putting me on, mate. Appreciate it a lot.
It's been fun. It's been good. Right. Okay. I still 23. How do you end these? You're the professional. How do you end a podcast?
Well, normally I just go, "Oh, dude, it's been awesome chatting to you. I'll see you soon."
All right, cool. That's what I do. I'm not sure I'm cool enough for that.
Put on your ITV voice. That's all you have to do.
I don't have an ITV voice. This is my ITV voice.
Think of Ryland and you'll be fine. You said how he would do it. You'll be...
God, I just come over feeling well pressured. I'm just going to say thank you for Jordan for hanging out. Thank you for listening and watching. Subscribe, like, and all that business, please. And if you got any suggestions for things like want us to talk about on this podcast, send them in, because I struggle with ideas. So yeah, cheers. Enjoy your day. Stay safe.
You too.
Fuck Brexit. Fuck Boris Johnson. Goodbye.
Bye.